putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Hey everybody, Kevin Jackson here. It is the Kevin Jackson Show. Glad you're with me. So we knew there had to be some sacrificial lambs. And let me tell you, the shoe is falling all over the place. And you should congratulate yourselves because you have been successful in toppling the most crooked political system on the planet. I know people are, come on, Kevin, there's all kinds of countries that are crooked. No, there are countries that you know they're crooked. What we've been told is that everything's on the up and up. It's all good in America. We have, fair elections and we play by the rules and yada, yada, yada. It's a one justice system for all. It's not, special justice or special treatment for certain people like the elitist and then treatment for you, etc. And you know what? It's none of that. We have the most corrupt system in the world. And the only thing that the left doesn't want to do is they don't want to admit to it. You know it. Black folks are, what's the miscarriage of justice? So black people say that cops are unfairly targeting black folks. No, they're not. They're fairly targeting black folks. And you know what? Black folks are getting away with more than any other culture. True. It's a fact. You could talk to, there's not a police chief on the planet that will call me a liar on that. He may deny it publicly, but privately he'll tell you the truth and say, Kevin's exactly right. Corporations are held gangster by women, Lily Ledbetter nonsense, by minorities. Oh, we can't have a group of La Raza at your company. Well, we don't make tortillas, dude. We make lawn chairs, Well, we still want to be represented, the Mexicans. It's always somebody complaining. And then we look at what does happen. What's funny is all the people complaining about, we don't get our justice, we don't get this, we don't get that. Then they look at what's happening with Hillary Clinton. They see what's going on. And they say nothing. They're quiet. You want to know why? They're sellouts. I was having a discussion with some black dude. I got called the donkey of the day by the Griot, which is some black publication, online publication. I was the donkey of the day. I was getting all this mail from black folks. And I responded to every one of them. And they came at me, you dumb butt, except they would use other words, and calling me all kinds of stuff. And let me tell you, luckily it's on DM, where everybody doesn't get to see those tweets. But I fired back at these clowns like you wouldn't believe. I fired back at them. Who are you to write to me telling me I'm wrong about something? You just got out of the pen. Trying to tell me, Kevin, you're bad for black people. Well, what's your story? Well, I just got out 2 months ago. I caught a case for 5 years because I was selling some heroin or whatever. Oh, really? So you, my friend, are a great representative of black people. Let me tell you something. I've been into hundreds of companies. Hundreds. I've met with board of directors in more companies in a month than the average person would meet with board of directors in 5 lifetimes. And I will tell you, every time, pretty much without exception, I may not have won every deal, but I left that boardroom and I know for a fact the people in that room said, that's one sharp guy. And I don't care what else they said after that. They looked at me, I walked in and I could tell in some cases they, especially when I was younger, they didn't really respect, they were like, oh, he's a youngster. But when I was finished with that board, at whatever age I was, they said, wow. I'll give you a perfect example. I went to a board and we had lost a deal. And the owner of the company said, man, will you go to the board and talk to the company? So I said, yeah, because it was a school board. So I went and talked to him. This is, I've talked to other ones. I'm just giving you kind of an early example. But I was VP of a company, and I went to talk to the people that made the decision for the technology of this particular school, big school. And we had lost this major contract to Dell. And so the school was in my hometown. So I go to the school board, and we're having a discussion. And I said, I just want to find out why the board made a decision that's, because we had lost like low bid or whatever, and they were 2% or, it was pennies. And I said, I don't understand this. I said, we are a local corporation. We've been supporting, we supported another big school right next door to the other one. And I was like, we've been supporting this school district for the better part of 8 years. But not only that, we're in the community. We're helping people do this, that, and the other. And I said, now, when you put all that on balance, we are giving back into this community much, much more than Michael Dell is going to give this community. For him, you're a notch in his cap. He's happy that you gave him the business, but he's not going to come here and run his business from here and hire people and blah, blah, blah. I said, now, with all due respect, I am not disrespecting your decision. I understand you weren't aware of all of the things, the intricacies of this particular piece of business. But I don't look at this as business. I look at this as community. And what we're doing here is bigger than that. We are Johnny on the spot, no matter what happens at our, and I said, and by the way, you can contact our client. And I said, I think you probably did. We are Johnny on the spot. Michael Dell can talk about next day shipping and all that. How about next hour me bring it over? And I said, so again, I do not want to, make anybody upset about your decision, because I get it's a paper decision. But that's why I wanted to come here personally. I didn't bit more finish when a guy stood up and said, how in the hell did we not give the business to these guys? And then he goes, you know what? I say we put a hold on this business until we can relook at this. And everybody's like, mumbling. Now, I'll tell you, we didn't get the business. It was a bid. We lost. We didn't get it that year. We got it the next year. But my point is, when I left, they were going, who is this dude? And that was nothing. By the time, that was probably 10 years before I got into management consulting and started actually dealing with huge companies. But these clowns that come to me and talk about, what are you doing for blacks? Every time I went into a corporation, I represented blacks. I didn't go in there going, yeah, y'all, listen, I didn't sag. I didn't have braids in my hair. I wasn't wearing my bling. I went in there as a young man trying to get that business, and I spoke professionally. They knew my family life. They do a lot of research on you. So how dare you write to me telling me I'm some Stetson fetchy coon bud Negro, which they use different language. How dare you? Talking to grown people that way. And the other thing is this. If you've got a disagreement with somebody, how about you just say, you know what, Kevin, I completely disagree with what you said on Fox. This point that you made about blankety blank, I just find, whatever. I'm happy to discuss that. But they always come in with this, you're crazy, you piece of this, you idiot. And then I come back. Well, you're the idiot. And you know why they're idiots? Because they're the people that elect the John Conyers of the world, who, by the way, has been officially thrown to the wolves now. See, in Indian culture, when people get old, they walk away and they give themselves to the elements. But Democrats don't go away. You're watching Hillary Clinton right now. So they got to throw them to the wolves. Hillary Clinton is eventually going to be thrown to the wolves. So we got Conyers stepping down because now he wants his son to molest women. But the Democrats, folks, when Conyers says, I'm going to step down, they felt complete. They washed their sins away when he stepped down. He was an easy target, though, and I talked about this the other day, because any member of the Congressional Black Caucus is guaranteed a seat as long as they step and fetch it for the powers that be. So losing Conyers was no big deal to them. Days into his sexual misconduct, Pelosi called Conyers an icon. But as they say in the mafia, it's going to be your friend who puts that bullet in your brain. And Pelosi obliged. She then sent something, made a comment publicly, Conyers needs to step down. And let me tell you something, folks. That was no request. Conyers had to go. Not even a congressional black circus clown, Sheila Jackson Lee, could save him, and she called him a patriot. And let me tell you a little bit about Democrat politics. When a big-mouthed black woman from Houston, Texas can't save you, you know that the order for your hit came from the head of the family. So Conyers resigned and ironically asked Sheila Jackson Lee to read his document because he didn't want to appear. He says, my legacy can't be compromised or diminished in any way by what we're going through now. This too shall pass. I want you to know that my legacy will continue through my children. I have a great family here, and especially in my oldest boy, John Conyers III, who incidentally I endorsed to replace me in my seat in Congress. So yet again, we got DNA we got to deal with. In the Lacey Clay, he replaced his father. Kwame Kilpatrick, you remember that guy? He got handed his seat. A lot of taxpayer money it cost Detroit to finally get rid of that guy. Convicted, high-ranking Democrat political leader in Detroit. 14 days to deliberate on this trial, but the scoundrel and his father went to prison over it. So the Democrats, they want to look at people like me and talk about, I'm not a good role model. Look, all you got to do is look at any member of the Congressional Black Circus and you'll see what's going on. All you got to do is look at the people who call the shots. Pelosi, forget Steny Hoyer and others. They're the shot callers up there.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.